Ring ring, it's time for another episode of Crossplay Conversations, the show where we dive deep into the world of video games while keeping it light. I'm your host, Joseph Hooper, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Jacob McCourt, the 3D printed man, as Luke Lewis calls him. Ooh, we got a little keychain here, a little keychain action for the video viewers. What am I looking at, Jacob?
Look, y'all, I'm telling you, you have to get on this video version of the show because you get a lot of treats when you watch it. And I have a small Game Boy little keychain that I pulled from a gotcha bag. I got this on my recent trip to the UK. And so shout out to the Game Boy Advance. Shout out to the UK.
Shout out indeed. And shout out to another person. We have a special guest on the episode. If you are a video viewer, you also got a little sneak peek, a little spoiler, because he's in the frame. Today we have the host of the Left Behind Game Club. That's right, not Jacob McCourt, whose name is Luke Lewis. I just noticed in the thing. We have Travis Colenutt with us today. Everybody, Travis, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a minute. I know that I did what was the last thing I came on here to talk about? No, I'm Not a Human, I think. You
were here with Kate Hunter, I think.
Yeah, no, so it was, thank you for having me back on. It's been a lot of fun now that I don't ever see Jacob anymore. It's kind of nice to do a pod with him, so.
Yeah, so as I kind of led off with, you are now the host of the official host of the Left Behind Game Club. How's that treating you right now?
Oh, that's weird. I don't like that. That's like flaring up some imposter syndrome things going on. No, it's been really great. My free time is just kind of opened up, and Jacob's been gracious enough to kind of let me take the reins of the show, and I've been doing a lot of work to get us a lot of episodes kind of banked so we can get on a more regular release schedule. So it's been a lot of fun. Now that I have more free time, I've been playing a lot more games, and I've been able to tackle a lot more things out of my backlog. And I mean, Left Behind is just such a great way to kind of obviously it's book club style, so we get to talk about games that we didn't get to play when they first came out. So I get to do that with my friends, and it's great. And no, literally, Jacob just released the episode on Quantum Break that we did, and that was honestly, I'm re-listening back to it. And I'm like, this was such a great time, just to play a game together with people again, and it's to kind of deep dive into it. It's been a lot of fun. So I am appreciative of the opportunity to get to do it, and thank you so much for giving me the chance to kind of talk about some new stuff today.
Before we talk about new stuff, let's just go into our icebreaker, which is, what are your favorite recent episodes of the Left Behind Game Club? I'm looking at this kind of like a Regis and Kelly situation where my mom used to watch it all the time. Then Regis left, obviously, and then it was Kelly and Michael Strahan or something. Yeah, we're in the Michael Strahan era of the Left Behind Game Club.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
I think it's just a different thing.
It's just different. It's just different. So, what are some of the episodes people should look out to get a taste of what this new era is like?
So, honestly, it's funny because I wouldn't necessarily consider it the starting of it, but I think our Clair Obscur Part 3, that was just me and Jacob, is one of my favorite episodes that we've recorded in a long time, because we do the whole role reversal where I'm the host and Jacob is the panelist, and it was just a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, Jacob is host extraordinaire, so the idea of having to host just him for an episode is kind of crazy, but it was a lot of fun, and we just recorded that in my basement, and we were just I don't know, it was great, and we got to deep dive into his experience with the game, and that was a lot of fun. And honestly, if I'm being real, some of the episodes that are my favorite are ones that haven't come out yet or haven't been announced. I mean, I might as well throw out ones that are coming out soon. We just released, like I said, Quantum Break, and that was so much fun. We did again, just in my basement. It's just, I don't know, it's just a lot of fun to do that. And then and
honestly, that's kind of how the Left Behind Game Club started. We're doing it in person. The show is 9 years old in June. We're coming up on, and the first like 2 or 3 years were very much like in person, just getting together. And then as we added, friends virtually and COVID happened, we kind of moved away from recording it together in person. So it's really nice, especially now as I'm like doing less episodes. It is nice to like come together and record in the same place. There's an energy that you just can't replicate.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what it is. It's fun. And like, don't get me wrong, like doing it virtually is totally fun too. But there is something about like, I get to be with my friends talking about a game that we all played at the same time. So like me and Katie, our next episode is on Phoenix Springs. And that one feels like the one for me that is, I fully like hosted that one, edited it, like did all the work involved in it, and that one feels like this is a special episode for me, and I really like it. And then I mean, I haven't listened to it yet, but I guess we can probably drop it here that you two have an episode coming out next is the one after Phoenix Springs, and we've already announced Imposter Factory, where Jacob's with Dan from Greatest Story Ever Played. He's dropping Hermit and Pig, which is both of you, which is kind of fun. So I haven't listened to that one yet, but I'm sure it's going to be great.
Wait.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love like a short duo episode. Some of my favorite episodes in recent memory are duo shows.
Yeah.
And so to just talk about Hermit and Pig, a game that I think when it comes out, it'll be like 6 months, I think, since the game came out. It's one that I think more people should be talking about and playing. So, we kind of broke our rule a little bit of playing new games. We try and play games that are like a year plus old, but break that rule in places where it makes sense. With Claire Obscure, we broke it. With Wanderstop, we broke it.
Yep.
With Hermit and Pig, we broke it. So,
and literally the episode after Hermit and Pig is it's Love Eternal, which was one that I really wanted to play. Yeah. And we've got and Kate from No Small Games is coming to join us on it. And it's just, I'm like, you know what? I'm throwing it out the window. Who cares? Jacob's not here. He can't tell me what to do. So
that's true. That's true.
You're the boss now, dude.
That's right. Whatever. Who cares? So no, it's been a lot of fun. So lots of stuff coming down the pipe, and I hope people kind of tune in. So thank you.
I'm not gonna lie. When you were saying like, oh, there's the next one is one you two did together, and I was like,
when was that?
Is he talking about me? And
yeah,
I'm like,
you.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, am I supposed to record an episode? And then he said Hermit and Pig, and I was like,
that was a while ago.
Recorded an episode of Hermit and Pig. I was like, this was so long ago, and I also was like, in my head, I was slightly thinking, oh, that was like a crossplay.
Yeah, no.
Pod, because it was me and Jacob. But
I know.
Damn,
I know.
You all are in for a treat. Like
Hermit
and Pig, I got to do my best not to forget about that game in December, because by golly, that's a great video game right there.
Yeah.
Which we'll hear about on the Left Behind Game Club. And with that, everyone, we're going to
though, if you haven't heard it on Crossplay, also, we do a little review about it on episode 68. So you don't have to wait for Left Behind Game Club. Listen to my podcast instead, gosh darn it.
Oh, God.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop you right there. If you're going to listen to episode 68, do it in about 30, 40 minutes after we get through this episode. All right? Because we got a lot of great games to talk about here, a lot of indie games. As people, listeners of the show know, we over here love indie games. We love the new hotness. So we have 4 relatively new games to discuss here today. I'm just gonna give everybody a little tease, right? Because we have Replaced, Titanium Court, Mouse PI for Hire, and Gambonaza to talk about. So we're gonna kind of just jump in and start with Replaced. But if you want to hear about any of these games, you got to stick around. You got to stick around and listen. So before we get started, Travis, I know you mentioned you were playing Replaced. Jacob, did you also play Replaced at all?
Yeah, so I think Travis and I probably have a similar amount of time with it. I've played about 2 hours of Replaced. Okay. Travis, you maybe played a little bit less than that, I think.
Yeah, I played, I played the demo at PAX this year. I played the demo at PAX, and then before this, I played probably about maybe an hour and a half or so, just to kind of get a sense. To start the actual game off. So,
and Hooper, I'm assuming you've played much more of it.
Yeah, kind of. I'm like about 6 hours in.
Nice.
So maybe triple what you guys are, but I think based off of what you have played so far, you can kind of get a good vibe of like what the game is. For those that don't know, Replaced is this sort of like retro cyberpunk style game where you play as an AI that has been fused to a human's body. So the AI is in full control of this man's body. There was events that happened at the top of the game where this kind of fusion occurs, and the AI is basically trying to now make everything right. Like give this man his body back, figure out why things are all of a sudden going awry. There's like politics and, you know, factions and things at play. And as you progress through the game, you kind of just learn more about this world, why it's in the condition that it's in right now. And like you learn a little bit more about like the factions and everything that have formed over the years as like this once kind of, I guess, like normal America timeline kind of evolved due to some events that I guess I won't spoil. So with that being said, I kind of want to start with Jacob. Let's start with you. I want to get your initial thoughts based on your early time with Replaced.
The thing that they talk about and show often in Replaced, I feel, is the Arkham-esque combat, where you're on a 2D plane, but it tries to do that same reaction window action that you're used to in a Batman Arkham game. The thing that I think surprised me most about my 2 hours of playing Replaced is the amount of world building that they're doing here. You not only, you explain the setup for the character, but, you carry around a little device that looks sort of like a Walkman. This is an alternate history where I'll just give you the lightest of spoilers here. There may have been some sort of nuclear disaster that affected, the way that, the country moves forward after that nuclear disaster. I'm trying to be very vague here. You actually, in the 2 hours I've spent, it's like a lot of walking around and talking to folks and gathering context and way less action than I had anticipated. And it's way more little guy, big world game also than I expected. So it's almost like a third of, a little guy, big world game. There's a third of it that's action, and a third of it is this world building, reading, understanding what's happening.
Travis, does that align with like your expectation versus reality, or how are you feeling so far?
Yeah, so I've played maybe just like I said, about an hour and a half or so. I think obviously the demo that I played at PAX was a lot more, here's a vertical slice that's got a lot more action, puzzle solving and stuff like that. So I know that stuff is coming. And I really liked the demo. The demo really impressed me. And then so to kind of jump in with the actual game itself, I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. So it's just a matter of like kind of getting my way through this initial prologue, this chapter 1. But the other thing about this game is just how visually striking it is. It's just so pretty. Like the angles that it does, and the pixel art is so like, it's like high fidelity, but it's still pixel art, and it's doing something really interesting with its art direction. It's just the way it transitions from location to location and how the angles of the cameras change and everything. It's just it's really good. The motion is so smooth when you're playing it. It's just so impressive. Like you can tell, like obviously, like this game, like. I think it got delayed a lot of times. Like it was announced, It got delayed. And obviously like you can tell that like a lot of polish was put into like how it's looking and how it feels when you're playing it, because it's so smooth when you're doing it. So I think that was the thing that strikes me the most, is obviously like the intro of the game is pretty, like Jacob said, like maybe action or combat heavy or light, sorry. And, but you're still, like it's just so visually impressive that it doesn't really matter that you're going through these beautiful like areas that are very bespoke to the space and everything. So it's just really, really well done so far.
Yeah. Very, very impressed by like the environmental world building that they've done, and like just the art style in general. This art style is not like a small feat, right? It has that kind of like 3D pixel art look, very similar to something like Octopath Traveler, but even more so than Octopath Traveler, like you are essentially like the scale is a lot bigger, right? So it's not like, oh, you're in a small little town and there's little shadows on your little guy as they walk around. It's like, no, like these are very detailed settings that you're moving in between, and even beyond settings, very detailed animations and cinematic animations. Like, I guess a light spoiler that was in the demo. There's a moment very early in the game where you're walking up and you see the sign that kind of like tells you what little area you're in, like what little city or town you're in. And as you're looking at the sign, like a bolt flies through the sign, like whizzes past your head and like kind of gets stuck right in front of the camera. And the camera then focuses in on that bolt, like a shift in perspective or whatever. And then like there's this whole cinematic cutscene of your guy like crawling, trying to get out of the line of fire and everything. And I'm like, dang, this is intense. Like, even though the game is kind of slow, I feel like the game does a great job at like selling the intensity of like the things going on. I kind of want to get into your thoughts a little bit more, Jacob, because one thing that definitely surprised me, I don't know if you've gotten far enough yet, but essentially the game kind of opens up in a way that I wasn't expecting, that I think you were alluding to, in that like once you kind of get out of the prologue or like that first kind of little area that mimics the demo, there's a point where you kind of get to your first big town and it is like really bustling. It is like there's a lot going on. And I was like, oh, I did not expect it to be this type of game at all, where you have multiple people to talk to. They're giving you like little side missions and stuff. Hey, find this, help me out here. I was like, what the hell? I was completely caught off guard. Was that what you were kind of alluding to earlier?
Yeah, I imagine this game to be a relatively linear experience that maybe would have been 6 to 8 hours. Like, that's on its face what I thought was going to happen. But
yeah,
I've seen at least one of our colleagues play through it, and it's probably double the length and double the scope that I was expecting. And just the sheer amount of collectibles and things you can read through, and even in narrative, just like there's very light choices, or like when you speak to characters, you can start to speak to them and kind of learn a little bit more and choose options of what you're going to talk through first. I was very, very surprised at the depth here, and maybe this is one of the reasons why the game kept getting pushed, because there's just way more here than I thought there was going to be. It read short 2.5D action adventure game, but there's surprisingly more to it than that. And the thing that I want to touch on what you had said about the sort of the cinematic look of it, I think seeing it doesn't actually do it justice. Getting hands on sticks and seeing, even how the character can move from foreground to background is impressive and not something I was expecting.
Yeah. I think like you're saying, like feeling is believing in this case. Like when you pick up the controller and you're actually playing it, you're kind of like, oh wow, like this is the real deal. And I think that was like the big question a lot of us had, like, because I feel like we've been in the area or the situation a lot where you see a trailer and you're like, this looks just like way too good to be true. Right. Like, what is it going to play like? How much of this is interactive, X, Y, and Z? And replaced, like, playing that demo, even the demo kind of really sold me and said, oh, okay, like, this is a game. This is a real video game. And yeah, like, I would say even, a little deeper into the game, my favorite thing so far is like absolutely the world building and just kind of like seeing this well thought out or really unique story that they put together in terms of not even necessarily the moment to moment dialogue between the main characters, but like picking up the notes. And I'm like really reading like these newspaper clippings or like some of these diary entries. Like just one small snippet is like, I was in this backyard and I found a diary entry from a preacher. And he was talking about like, hey, like I'm trying to reach these people, but basically there's a wall, kind of like a border where it's like inner city and outer city. He was like, yeah, all these preachers on the inner city are kind of offering these people all these like luxuries and all these things that I really can't give them, but it seems too good to be true. Like it seems like they're paying a price that, they wouldn't be paying otherwise if they were just, trying to look for faith or whatever. And I'm like, oh shoot, like this is a really cool like little perspective. It kind of gives low-key Last of Us vibes of just trying to like seeing how people are just trying to survive and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how all the whole story comes together. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but it's great. I highly recommend it. Does anybody have any other final thoughts on Replaced? Jacob.
I have wanted to play Norco for years now. This is a 2022 point-and-click adventure game that has a weirdly similar look, although it is point-and-click, and I don't think it does as much with the sort of background-foreground, and it's obviously not as interactable. But seeing this game and that game side by side, one, I want to play Norco, but two, I think it is just too impressive. And if you have Game Pass still, I believe it's on Game Pass if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So you have no excuse if you've got an Xbox and Game Pass.
Yeah, I'll probably finish this sometime in the future. Full disclosure. So like I know that some of the reviews when this game came out talked about some of the bugs, and that was kind of a bit buggy. I was playing it like literally right before this, and I was getting towards the end of chapter 1, and my screen just kind of went black in like a transition, and then I could hear the character kind of moving and stuff, but nothing ever popped up on screen. So then I was like, okay, exit to menu and come back in, and it reset that whole chapter, like all of my auto save, and I was like, oh no, like something. So like, I'm not going to say like but I did read that there's been some bugs, give or take. I know there was, I was Googling it and it said something about on Xbox specifically, like a chapter 4 to chapter 5 bug that can soft lock you and stuff. So it might be worth looking into in terms of making sure that you don't kind of lose any progress. If there is certain things that you can avoid, maybe I did something. I mean, I was also playing on Steam Deck. Who knows? Yeah, I think this game looks and feels great, and I think I'm gonna hold off a little bit longer until I actually kind of deep dive into it and like fully finish it. So,
and then I have to disclose that I did get code for this one. So, nice. Shout out to the folks for sending that over.
Sweet. Well, since Travis is gonna wait a little while, I guess he can use that time to play some games, maybe games like Titanium Court. Travis, are you playing Titanium Court? Are you the one?
Oh my god, I am the one. It is.
Okay.
I'm like 6
I've played 2 hours of this one too.
Okay. You
Okay.
played some. Okay, good, because I am like probably 6 hours deep into this thing.
Holy.
And that's just in this week alone. Like it just came out, and I have other games on the go that I've been wanting to do, and I've been kind of, the minute I saw this was announced, I was like, this is kind of my vibe. There's a weird absurdity to it. The art style is so striking, and when I'm not really a big, let's say, I don't know, match 3 in terms of like describing the gameplay. I'm not a big like match 3 tower defense kind of gameplay person. But the absurdity of the trailers and the marketing for this game was the thing that initially drew me in. So I decided to start. I was like, oh, well, I might as well just go for it. And unfortunately, it has its hooks in me. So now other things have kind of fallen by the wayside. But Titanium Court is really hard to describe. Like I mentioned, it is a bit of a match 3. In terms of gameplay, which then leads to a tower defense kind of phase, but also it's a narrative adventure game, and
it's a roguelite too.
Yes, like there's just so many layers to what this game is doing, and it's so interesting. So I kind of to give you just like a brief overview, essentially and you learn this kind of right off the hop, the game kind of introduces the idea that you are playing as the lost queen of the Titanium Court, and it's your job to kind of get your kingdom or court through these wars, which are essentially a match 3 game where what is called the high tide, where reality breaks into little squares and you're able to move around pieces of a battlefield to kind of suit it to however you want to then do the tower defense portion of this game. So you can kind of clear areas by, okay, you match 3 fields together and you get some bread. You match 3 waters together, you get some water. And then you can use those resources to then buy or create like units to then defend your court. And there's different power-ups and shops and different random events that can happen as you're going, and it's completely different every single time, so the rogue elements are there. And then you have to try to beat a boss at the end of every run. And if you do or don't, it doesn't matter. You're always getting these kind of old school adventure game segments in between where you're selecting, okay, go take a look at the dining hall of the court, or go into your chambers, and different things are always popping up for you to kind of discover more about the story and why you're there. And it's just so strange and bizarre, and I kind of love it. Like, I love it a lot, and I didn't come for the gameplay, but also I find the gameplay pretty addictive. It's quick, it's snappy. I'm sitting here just like doing my little match 3 puzzles, and then just so that way I can try to progress. Now, all things being said, I'm not very good at it. I've maybe 1-2 runs that I've done, but the to-do list of things that I can do in this game is kind of grown, and also you don't necessarily have to like beat a run in the traditional sense. Sometimes you can bribe the boss, spoilers, and
just give him a bunch of bread, and then maybe they'll go away.
And as long as you got enough bread, he'll go away, and that counts as a victory. Even more light spoilers, I watched like a 5-minute music video, and it let me...
What the hell?
It was just, it's so absurd. Jacob, what are your thoughts so far? Because like I'm kind of digging it, but I don't know. I'm also a weirdo, so.
I played the demo in Steam Next Fest.
Me too.
And I did not connect with me at all.
Oh, really?
And I was surprised.
Yeah.
Because I loved, so AP Thompson, who made this one, was a part of Jenny's game from last year.
Consume Me.
Consume Me, yeah. So co-developer on that one, and I think some of the spirit of that game, falls on Titanium Court, and so I was like, cool, I'll probably vibe with this. Did not, and still, requested code for this one as well. And what I will say is, I don't fully get it. Like, I understand now, having played 2 hours. It takes a little while to understand. How to the high tide of the matching or the low tide of the matching, whichever tide is the matching, I finally kind of understand now.
Yeah.
But the way I use my units with the different terrains, I'm still understanding. Sometimes you can like get a hospital tile or a shop tile, but if you match those tiles, or at least the terrain that the tile's on, it could get rid of that tile and you can't use it. So that took a little bit of understanding. I haven't quite figured out how to beat the first boss, which is a giant dragon, where I think you have to, do certain things to beat it. I don't get it. The macro game I don't get either, but I'm still willing to continue going. It's one game that, we talked before about how Replaced is one that you'll see it and you won't appreciate it until you play it. Titanium Court is sort of the opposite, where you're going to look at it and go, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And looking at it, even all the way you will not understand what this game is about.
Oh, no.
I think there's a demo on Steam. Is there a demo on Steam?
I think the demo was there, because it was there for Next Fest, but I don't know if it's still there.
Yeah, I don't think it's there anymore.
Yeah. Because, I don't know how, and I think even following like the devs and like the marketing team behind it, like Fellow Traveler and stuff, they were saying how this is not a game you can easily just market to people. Like, you look at a screenshot of it and you're like, what is happening on screen? There's a bunch of tiles, and then randomly, here's a Jenga tower that's falling over. Here's someone hitting a baseball bat. Like, you know what I mean? There's little reaction things whenever you, defeat an enemy court in the battles that you're doing, because you're sending out little units and stuff. But looking at it, it's very confused. Like, the visual language of it is like, I don't know what's going on in this game. That demo did a lot to convince me to play the full game, whereas it drew me in enough that I was like, oh, I understand what I'm supposed to be doing in this game in terms of just gameplay. And yeah, I'm not very good at it, but at least the mystery of what is happening and the absurdity of the characters that you interact with, and because you're dealing with a bunch of fairies that aren't from the mortal realm, so like there's some really funny dialogue where the characters are like, you're a mortal human and but there's things from our reality bleeding through, so they see a no parking sign and they're like, well, clearly this must be some sort of like magic sigil that says like we're not allowed to do anything related to parking here. And then you're explaining cars and they don't believe in cars. They're just outright like talking about how they don't understand what cars are and you're ridiculous for believing that cars exist. There's just so many hilarious little nods, and yeah, maybe it's like overwritten, but I think it's on purpose. Like it's just really funny, and it's doing that on purpose. It's everything feels very intentional, and I don't know, I just really enjoy it. I'm hoping I get better at it, but like there's also like a lot of really good like accessibility in terms of like difficulty options. You can kind of, before you start a fight, you can edit your comfort or strife, and you're rewarded one way or the other regardless. So comfort being like slightly easier, more things working your way, and strife being slightly harder. Obviously and every time you fail, your comfort level slightly goes up too. So it's a glass of wine. Like the kid has a glass of wine and it just feels a little bit more, and then you kind of it gets a little bit easier. So it's just witty and it's funny, and the strangeness of it all wrapped up around this kind of addicting feeling match 3 game.
That looks like a DOS game. It looks like very old.
It's so
like
color
64 color DOS game.
Like it's only these like maybe 4 colors, and it's so interesting. And the art's just even how like it almost looks like clip art. Like honestly, the like it looks like stock photos that they just kind of like used and created into like this weird pixel art. And it's just so interesting, and I'm excited to keep going, and I'm excited to kind of unravel some of the mysteries, and I'm hoping that I honestly don't even care if it lands. Like I'm cool if this thing just is like so obscure to me that I have no idea what's going on the entire time. I'm fine with it. Like it's totally my jam, and I'm digging it. So I'm excited.
So we've kind of gotten the two different spectrums, or we've explored the spectrum of like feelings on this game. What I'll say to wrap this up is I played the demo. I wish the demo was still up, because I think that's a great litmus test of like if you're going to jive with this game, because I played it and I was like right in the middle where I did, as the gameplay mechanics started clicking, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like you're building these resources and then you're kind of playing out the situation. It's like a sim game with a match 3 and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But also, it was just like so off the wall with the dialogue that I was just like Mr. Krabs meme, like what is happening around me? What are they talking about? And like deep down, I was like, please, I really hope that there's like some hidden story that kind of like really starts to unveil itself as you go on. But based off of Travis's 6 hours or however long he's been playing, he's like, yeah, it's just still gibberish nonsense, just off the wall craziness. So
you're like piecing some stuff, but not enough at 6 hours.
Little stuff in there. So, if that sounds like your jam, pick it up. I know a lot of people love just like random humor and just like crazy zaniness. And some people want more of a grounded, hey, this is what we're doing type experience. So if that's you, if you want the grounded thing, look further, because look elsewhere, because this is not it. But it's very unique, and the press loves it. So
this is a game for weirdos.
A game for weirdos for sure.
Not derogatory.
No, yeah, called out. Weirdo likes this game.
Speaking of games for weirdos, what about a game for people who like rats and cheese? All right, I want to talk about, and maybe also weirdos. I want to talk about Mouse PI for Hire, a game that similar to Replace, we had been following for quite a while, and it's finally out. Who wants to step up to the plate and give their initial impressions on Mouse PI for Hire?
Yeah, so I am halfway through Mouse PI for Hire. And
halfway, wow.
Yeah, I played 6 hours of this thing somehow. It's one that I, as a smooth brain, keep coming back to. Initially, I was apprehensive because I wasn't sure if the game was going to be, like, we saw it in motion, and I'll just say the thing up front, even though black and white in very Steamboat Willie style, beautiful game, both in art and the way it moves. But I was curious, I'm like, is there going to be enough game here? I think so. I halfway through it is very much a boomer shooter. The thing that I need to reiterate to folks there, if you are not a Doom fan, if you are not a fan of some of the new school boomer shooters that have come out, this is strictly a boomer shooter. Yes, there is a little bit of mystery and some great presentation on top, but if you don't like a first-person shooter where you can't aim down sights, then do not play Mouse PI for Hire, because that's what it is. But given the world and the shooting and the guns and the enemies, I've been playing it and enjoying it. It's one that I didn't think I would like as much as I did, and I think it's because it just. The controls are tight. The presentation's cool. Do I really give a shit about the story? Not a single bit. But even the voice acting they bring in here is impressive. Troy Baker is the lead, and they've got some pretty heavy hitter talent for some of the secondary characters. And despite them, hitting me with the we're gonna solve a mystery and that sort of voice, could give a flying fuck. However, have been enjoying my playing of the game.
Nice.
Travis, have you touched this?
I haven't. It looks really cool. First person shooters, and Jacob saying boomer shooter, I'm like, oh, okay, thank you for the warning, because it doesn't typically not my vibe.
Right.
But it looks really good. Like visually, I'm just like, oh, it's like really cool looking, and I would like to watch someone play this, but I don't know if I would actually like jump in and play it myself.
Yeah, I've definitely been on the fence with this one. This one is one that I thought was a Game Pass game, which I don't think it actually is.
I thought it was too, actually.
Because it was at the Xbox Showcase or Xbox Developer Direct at the beginning of this year. So I was like, oh, it's Game Pass. It's not. And I feel like this is probably one of the games that probably needed to be on Game Pass the most, because I really do need to actually play at least 30 minutes of this, or like some sort of demo, to really understand if this is going to be my type of game. The interesting thing about Mouse PI for Hire is that when you look at it and you look at the trailer, the game seems to be wearing a lot of hats, and you don't really know which hat is like the prevailing occupation that this game wants to like excel at. And like clearly hearing Jacob talk about is the boomer shooter and the FPS action.
It is 70% boomer shooter.
Well, there you go, right? But the game is literally called Mouse PI for Hire. And I would think I would be a PI for hire in a big way. But I guess, Jacob, you can tell me, like, are there PI elements, or is it more like the PI aspect is the set dressing for boomer shooter gameplay? Like, what's the vibe there?
Yeah, so you play as Jack Pepper, who is very much a private investigator who is looking into a series of interconnected crimes that are happening around town. There is and you'll see it here if you're looking at the video version, there is a Alan Wake-esque board that you put clues on, and those clues get tied together, and once a certain amount of clues get tied together, they then send you to another location. But that is the extent of it. It is go in the world, find clue, put clue on board, and you don't solve shit. It kind of just your character figures it out with or without your brain. So if it's 70% boomer shooter, it is, let's call it 10% first-person platforming, where you get some powers that'll allow you to glide, or there's even like a hook shot with your tail that you'll be able to get sort of later in the game. That's 10%. 10% is kind of experiencing the story and trying to figure out, kind of let the story wash over you, if you will. And then the other 10% is other. There's this little baseball card game as well that is a little side mini game that you can play. and so that's, and also you drive around your little car, and that's the world map that you kind of go through. You might have seen it in this video I was playing here, but that's the gameplay. So I want to reiterate that if you are not a fan of boomer shooters, do not play Mouse PI for Hire, because that's the game it is.
Okay, well, before we transition on, I want to reaffirm that aspect. If you are a fan of boomer shooters, how well does that aspect of the game appeal to the people that may be looking for boomer shooter gameplay?
Yeah, I will say that I've been gripped by the gameplay of this one, where there's a series of weapons that you gather, from a pistol to a Tommy gun. You can upgrade those guns by collecting blueprints in the world, where you'll never get aim down sights, at least in the half the game that I've played, but you can get like a left trigger alt fire that can either shoot more bullets, or you can charge, and you'll see here there are also powers that you can get that will allow you to punch or light people on fire. There's other things happening too. I think it's a really solid game. It's a really solid boomer shooter. It is not one that will light the world on fire. But if if a game like Turbo Overdrive spoke to you, if any of the new Doom games spoke to you, obviously not the same pace. It is a very deliberate pace in this one. But I've been enjoying my time, and I will say, I've been surprised at how much I like this one.
Okay,
this might be, when we come to the end of the year, this might be my biggest surprise of the year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it runs okay. It's weird because on its face, it doesn't look like a high-spec PC game, but I have a 3070, and I'm playing it on there and then bringing it to Steam Deck, and they lock it. I think the top you can get is 90 frames a second. You can't bring it past that. But I believe that's deliberate to kind of give it that Steamboat Willie sort of vibe. It's a weirdly high spec game where on Steam Deck the draw distance really becomes a problem. And so play this on your PC or console, maybe not. It works fine on Steam Deck, but the draw distance becomes somewhat challenging when you have enemies that you're trying to shoot far away.
Nice.
Mouse PI for Hire.
Can I say masterful gambit, sir? And speaking of masterful gambits, let's talk about a little game called Gambonaza. All right, I want to start off because when I played the Steam Next Fest demo for Gambonaza, I thought to myself, "Oh boy, this is going to be a problem," because this is one of those games that really kind of fits into a genre that is getting popular, which is kind of like that Balatro, take a classic game, turn it into a roguelike, and essentially you're playing very quick rounds of chess, and you're getting money, and with that money you buy upgrades, rinse, repeat, continue, and there's bosses at the end of each stage run or whatever. Very simple concept, but obviously when you swap in a lot of different mechanics, the outcome changes drastically. And for me, and Travis, I know you're playing this as well, but for me the outcome of Gambonaza works really well. I'm not the biggest chess sicko, but I do enjoy chess, and I love how they flip the game on its head just enough to make it very interesting and strategic from a video game perspective. And it's not just, okay, you're playing chess, but now it's a roguelike. It's okay, you start out with a few random pieces, and as you play, you not only have to figure out, if you lose a piece, you lose it permanently. So you not only have to replace that piece, figure out which pieces are going to be in your arsenal and how you want to buff those pieces with your little modifier pieces that you get. But then you also have to upgrade your side of the board and how many pieces you can put on the board. And it very quickly becomes a matrix of strategy in terms of chess on its own is already a very strategic game. But when you add in a lot of mechanics that kind of just break the traditional rules of chess, then it becomes really wild, and I'm not that good. So hopefully, Travis, you're good. Hopefully, you've seen a couple of different bosses, because I'm stuck on trying to get past that first round so far.
I am struggling too, but I will say I agree in that, like, of all the Balatro likes that have kind of started to come out since its success, this one feels the closest to Balatro, but in a good way. Like, I don't find it like derivative in a, like, you're looking at it and you're like, oh, this is just doing chess with Balatro. It is, but it's actually doing it well. Like, you could easily, like, kind of, oh, I'm going to take all these games and do this or that and make it a roguelike and do all that and try to hop on that Balatro success. But this one actually, like, it looks and feels like the Balatro version of chess, but in a good, but very, like, but does it successfully. I like that, like, for example, for Balatro, like, I don't play poker. I don't know poker hands all that well. But one of the things about Balatro that works is the fact that, like, you don't need to know them. Like, the game will guide you there, and you'll be able to succeed even if you don't. And I think the same feels true for this game, that you don't need to know. Like, an understanding of chess would be useful, but you don't need to know what every piece does. The game walks you through it. The game tells you where this piece is going to land. So you don't need to. It's really, it could be, those pieces could do anything and it doesn't matter. But the fact that it's based off of chess, just to kind of give you the, like, a base, is really interesting. And it uses that in the same way that Balatro does, where it's like, here's your base, here's what you can do, now just modify the shit out of it and pile things on top and move things around. And I like that you can edit your board. Like, I think that's really interesting, as opposed to just like, here's an edit of these pieces and what piece combinations you can do. I like the fact that you can also edit the board, and I like that it's kind of playing like fun little mini games as you're doing it too, just to kind of like freshen it up, do something fun and different. I have not also. I'm struggling to get very far, but I think honestly it's just a matter of, like, I just haven't quite gotten the how do I build all. There's so much variety, so I'm sitting here being like, how do I build the right strategy to get myself to the end? So I it's fun. I could see myself, like, I know I didn't play it on mobile, but I think it being available on mobile would be kind of scary, because I could see this 100%. Kind of getting into the same
as someone who has played Balatro on mobile, right?
That's the thing. Like, Balatro on mobile is like, oh, I'll just kind of do a little run here or there, and the idea of this just kind of supplementing that is dangerous, but also, like, good job.
Yeah. Nice.
Can I ask about the structure of it? So obviously, sure. I've seen how, sometimes the boards appear to be, 4x4s or 4x6s, 4x8s, 6x8s, whatever. Do you have to take down a series of, like, enemy pieces to reach a boss, and then you do multiple of those to win a run?
It looks like it's Go ahead.
I can set it up for you. So essentially, how each round goes is that you will have, like, your inventory of pieces. So you'll have maybe like 3 pieces that are already on the board, and you'll have like an inventory of however many other pieces. And they put like X number of pieces on the opponent's side of the board, and they set it up as, okay, you need to capture all these pieces, or all these pieces need to go before you can proceed to the next round. So it's just like continuously trickier setups for the pieces, and you can put your pieces anywhere on your side of the board, but it all becomes very strategic to where, okay, I have a queen on my side. I can set it up so that I'm immediately going to take the rook on the opponent's side. But the setup might be that if I take that rook, then the other rook on the other side is going to immediately take my queen. So I have to be very strategic about it. And as you win, it's very similar to Balatro, where if you win, you'll get currency. And then with that currency, you can either buy more pieces, buy like essentially like the jokers of this game, or it's like chess pieces that'll give you, bonus effects, or you can expand the board. And expanding the board means that you can start with more pieces. Like, you can start with 4 pieces instead of 3 next time. So yeah, that's kind of the play. It's like you get currency, and then that currency is your gateway to upgrade basically anything else in the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, it almost feels like more moving pieces than Balatro, whereas at least like
Yes.
Balatro just feels like here's your cards and you have different styles of cards to modify. This one feels like, oh, okay, you might have a special piece. Oh, you might have a special board. Oh, you might have more pieces. Like, it's editing things a lot. There's more variety because you're doing the board and the pieces, so your setups can be a lot more different than just here's your hand that's been offered to you and like make the cards that you have work to get to a certain score. This is like clear the board, like capture all of the enemy pieces, but it's a lot of like forethought of like, okay, if I do this, then this, then this, then this, how do I get to that point? And do I have the right combination of effects and power-ups to be able to get there? And so it's definitely doing something different than if the direct comparison, obviously being Balatro, it's doing something different too. It's not just, here's your lay of, okay, this is the hand that you're dealt. You kind of have to, you're maneuvering pieces a lot more. There's a bit more, I wouldn't say more strategy, but there's definitely more options available to you just right off the hop. So.
Yeah, a thing I like about Balatro is that there's like this game within the game. There's like this meta game to where once you kind of unlock the meta game of Balatro and you figure out what what your strategy is, then you can almost beat it every time. Like for example, for me, I always go for like the 2-pair, and then like I just upgrade that hand so much to that whenever I do 2 pairs or whenever I play a hand with a pair, it's just like crazy multipliers, and I can usually beat a run every time with that. There is multiple layers of metagames and complexity on top of Gambonaza, because Balatro, you just kind of get your hand and you pick the cards. There's not a ton of strategy there. You just have to be attentive. Gambonaza, you have to pay attention to every step, and if you make a wrong strategic move at any point, it could derail your run very fast. For example, like even on one of my setups, like I mentioned, I put my queen in a place. My queen was like my most powerful piece on the run, and I put the queen in a place where it was a lose-lose situation. Like I was going to got no matter what. And so I lost my queen at the top of the run. And even though I made it through the run, I lost way more pieces than I expected to. And my money wasn't going to be able to cover having meaningful upgrades while also like replenishing my stock of pieces. So, yeah, there's just like so many, pun intended, moving pieces in Gambonaza, that I feel like it just is going to take a lot more time for me to crack that like meta game of like, oh, I know that there's these pieces that help the pawn this way. Like I just got a piece today where it was like, anytime your pawn moves next to the king, you can auto promote your pawn, and then your pawn can turn into any piece that you select, basically. And I had a king and 2 pawns, so I would literally just like wait at the turn and then move my pawn next to the king, upgrade that one, and then I'd have 2 queens and a king. But then I got one of my pawns taken, and my strategy like completely got derailed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that the game is doing a lot, but everything it does is meaningful. It's not wasting a lot of energy on like crazy graphics or characters or story or any of that. It's like all the mechanics are straight to the point, but very additive.
Yeah, really well said. I think yeah, go ahead.
3 quick things. In addition to being on Steam, Travis, I'm so sorry to break this to you.
Oh, no.
It is also on phones. So RIP you on that, and it's pretty inexpensive on phones.
It's over.
How's the controller support? Very weird, strange thing. I played this one in Steam Next Fest, and I don't think it had controller support in the demo that was on Steam when it came out for Next Fest. How's this play? Does it play well on controller, or do you need a mouse for this one?
I was playing it on my Steam Deck, and it was fine. Yeah, I was moving it around. It like I didn't really have any issues. It did the job that it needed to do.
And what are the runs like? I'm assuming that you both maybe have done multiple runs. Fast, is it like you could fail in 5 minutes?
I think kind of to like add on to Hooper's point, like it's with like Balatro, I find it's easy to kind of get far in Balatro kind of by accident in that, like, okay, here's your hand. And as long as you have like decent hands, you can get it pretty decently far. I find myself dying. It's easy to progress in Balatro. This one I find I'm struggling to progress, but only because I haven't grasped it yet. Like, it's easy to progress in Balatro, but hard to like really get past that level of like, okay, I have like built an entire strategy. Like, you have to put in a lot of understanding to get far in Balatro. This one, it's almost like the buy-in's a little bit a slightly steeper curve to get up to kind of learn it, to know all the pieces. So I'm dying quickly. So that's thing. If that demo's still up, then I think you just check it out and see if it works for you. But it's definitely not something that like I didn't progress very far for very long.
yeah, that's about right. Yeah, this is another one of those like Balatro like demos where I feel like they give you a lot to work with. Like if it's still up. Where I put probably like an hour into the demo, and I probably could have put more.
It is not up on Steam anymore.
Rip. Oh, what are we doing nowadays? I don't know what the meta is.
Actually, hold on. It is. I'm sorry. It is still
okay.
on.
Okay, good.
Almost had me run my mouth for no reason.
You just got to add all that stuff to your library when it's on Steam Next Fest, and that way you can just get to it whenever you get to it.
It doesn't work anymore. Sometimes they revoke the license.
Rude.
Yeah. That happened to me. I was like, I can't wait to play this demo that I downloaded like 6 months ago. And they're like, actually, sir, you don't own this demo.
Oh, well, never mind.
This for you. I was like, what the hell? I was about to say, I don't know what the Steam meta is for indie developers anymore. Like, I don't even know what incentive you have to take your demo away. Is that like more likely that people buy your game? I don't know. But anyways, Gambonaza, fire. I love it. I'll be playing it for months to come, I'm sure.
Yeah, now that it's on my phone, I think, well, the Left Behind Game Club is now over. I've lost all of my free time. It's gone now.
Wrap it up.
So, yep. Thanks for having me.
So I have to take over again because I don't want to.
It's yours again. Yeah, sorry. I'm busy.
Sorry, Jacob.
Damn it.
Speaking of wrapping things up, we're going to wrap this podcast up. I want to once again shout out and thank our lovely guest Travis for coming on and talking games with us. Travis, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want to let people, we kind of already harped on it. It was the whole icebreaker, but let people know where to find you. How can they support the stuff that you're making?
Yeah. So you can follow the show. Go to our website at leftbehindgame.club. You can follow the show on BlueSky at leftbehindgameclub.bsky.social. If you want to follow me, I don't know why you would, but if you want to, I'm on BlueSky at traviscolenutt.bsky.social. But yeah, come and join us. It's fun. Join our Discord. Have a good time. We'll talk about the games that we're playing and any deals that are going on. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Absolutely. And as a completely separate entity, unrelated, Jacob McCourt, do you have your own projects that you would like to promote here?
Look, let me promote the VOD for video game trivia at PAX East because I'm not sure it was out when we put out the last episode. So because I just put it out literally 2 weeks ago, and so if you want to see some shenanigans at PAX East with respect to trivia and whatnot, you can find that on my YouTube channel at Jacob McCourt. It's an hour long. It's a lot of fun. I've mentioned it on the show before, so I won't belabor it. But that's what I got. Hoop, you're working on any secret videos on your special secret channel that you don't talk about enough on this program?
Yeah, shout out Can't Pause. Go check out that YouTube channel. I have like I have a bunch of line recordings for a video that I have not edited yet. That
okay.
I'm like, do I need to put it out now? Do I want to put it out later? We'll see. So there should be a video coming out in like the next week or so. I don't know what the topic is going to be. It's either going to be I think the 12 games that I would recommend to anyone.
Nice.
Or it might be about like some indie games that are coming out this year. We'll see. Also, go check out the Indie Informer. I have a couple articles up on there. Gecko Gods is up there. And I will be talking about another game in like a couple weeks as well. So go check
embargo,
out
secrets.
Secret embargo. And honestly, go check out can'tpause.com too, because I'm probably going to write about Replaced and Gambonaza on there.
Nice.
But honestly, you don't need to check those out. We just talked about them. It's okay. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and set our status to away until next time. But until then, you can do 4 things for us. Travis, go ahead and put your 4 fingers up. Or put up count to 4.
Okay,
Let's do
we'll count
that.
to 4. Okay.
Number 1, you can follow us on BlueSky at Crossplay Convos. Number 2, subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram, and follow us on Spotify or iTunes and all that good stuff.
Instagram is brand new, so please go find that and hit the follow button.
Literally do it right now. I'll give you 3 seconds. All right,
3,
thank you for following.
2,
Send this podcast to a friend, because obviously that's how people hear about podcasts. And lastly, go give us a review on your podcasting platform of choice. It helps more than you know. So go ahead and do that now. I'll give you the rest of your day to do that, because we're about to end this podcast. And with that, stay cool, nerds. I didn't write that. I don't know who wrote that. I
wrote that. I set you up. I set you up.
I'm so sorry. I was like, I guess I'll read it.
Stay cool, nerds.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.